I think we all probably have some pretty cool stories about things going on in our practices related to innovation. We're involved in some really neat things, prefabricated hospitals, for example, innovation that's enabling our work at Google, computational design that's enabling small, remarkable teams to do things that were unimaginable just a few years ago and connecting proof at concept and performance. But rather than tell those stories, and maybe some things come up in the Q&A, I'd just like to maybe level set a little bit how we're thinking about innovation at our firm. And maybe that begins with, again, opinions, viewpoints. What is innovation? And we're thinking a lot about innovation isn't invention. Invention is something new, something very new that it maybe isn't completely adapted. But innovation fundamentally involves things that are highly adapted, but are being combined in new and unique ways. And that it's a break from the past, but somehow connected to a historical context. So that's interesting. Why is it important? Pretty basic question, but here's why I think it's important. And Jim alludes to it in his opening. It's all about value creation. And more specifically, new value, creating new value. And if we do that, then we're relevant. And if we're relevant, you know, there's an endless world of opportunities available to us. So we want to be very much on point with that. So how are we creating an environment for innovation, which also ties to some of your thoughts in the talk this morning? I think at the top of the list is culture building. The very deliberate, very proactive set of strategies and ideas that we bring to building a culture that enables fertile ground for innovation. I don't think you can schedule innovation, but I think you can create an environment where it can pop and where remarkable things can happen. So diverse thinkers, a culture with the freedom to explore, fostering creative laboratories are examples of that. Some really smart friends at Harvard Business School instruct us that accountability, when greater than control, equals entrepreneurship. And I think control plays into this whole issue of innovation in some intriguing and maybe some counterintuitive ways. So that's definitely on our minds in a big way. How do we elevate accountability dramatically above control? And how does control play out through our practice? So building on that, this network organization that we aim to create, that we're building, that we're actively developing, is a key part of the strategy to an innovation culture. So more links, not layers, being very intentional with the informal network, and proactive with not just the internal aspect of the network that connects our offices around the world and all of the activities, but also in a new way, proactive with the external network. And looking past, as was discussed yesterday, traditional modes of ownership in the building of that external network. Basically, building a bigger network is part of creating more of that fertile ground for things to spark. I think there's some important methods and attitudes that support the way we think about innovation: greater variance, rapid prototyping, 3D printing, one-to-one testing, lots of iteration, of course visualization. There was some great stuff on that. Keeping R&D connected to the work is very important, allowing for uncertainty within the routine, and seeing old things new ways, and bringing new people to old ideas. And I have to digress for just a second, because I was talking to Valerian at the break yesterday, and he said something that I thought was really interesting. And it plays right into this bringing new people to old ideas. And if you think about Lisa's talk and open sourcing and all that represented, Valerian made the observation, if I may report, that this is in a way, this technology is enabling a return to rural life. And you think, well, what do you mean by that? What's behind rural life? Well, I've spent some time in some very rural, underdeveloped communities. And there's powerful relationships. There's not a lot of stuff. There's deep meaning and experience. And this technological revolution, in a way, and these social networks are striving for that, sometimes superficially, other times less so. But it's a big circle, and the evolution of people, in a way, is not something that's just offset with a few years of technological innovation. So I really enjoyed that connection, and I wanted to connect to that little sidebar. So just to maybe conclude my opening comment here, you know, how are we aiming our innovation, and I'm going to use Eric's term, performance weapon. That was another sidebar last night. I really like that idea of a performance weapon, and I think innovation is a performance weapon. And in my mind, it's at the intersection of relevance and what lights our fire as designers. That's where we're aiming that weapon. If we think about globalization, then it's dealing with delivery, efficiency, network solutions. If we think about automation, we're aiming it at computational design, at really conveying proof of concept on performance. And if we think about the experience economy, which isn't a panacea per se, but it's really important to what we're all about, then for us it's designing to provoke change. And you know, that's the passion, that's the dream of where we want to drive innovation. So those are my thoughts for the comment here.
Thank you very much, Steve. Let's